Hello and welcome once again to Stampin' with Glitter Mum. Thank you as always for joining me. So today I'm going to share a fun little technique with you, which I believe is called the Joseph's coat technique, named after Joseph's amazing Technicolor Dream coat, which is coincidentally one of my favourite musicals. So yes, I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of achieving this look. We're using clear embossing powder and lots of black ink. So I'm going to show you the first method, which I think is the more traditional method, which involves sponging your background first. So I'm going to get my little piece of card here, and I have got my favourite sort of peacocky / dragonfly colours today. So I'm just going to fairly randomly sponge here. I'm doing the squeaky sponging today. Sometimes I do like dabbing, but I'm swirling today. Gives you a bit of a sort of a smoother effect. There you go. So that was Rich Raspberry. I'm going to do some Emerald Envy now. And the thing is, because this most of this background isn't actually going to be visible on the card, I haven't got to be, trying to really smooth out my joins or anything like that. Oh, very nice. That was my Emerald Envy. And now for some tempting turquoise. Right. Okay, I think that will pretty much do it. Nice little colourful bit of background. Now, so we're going to heat emboss this, and also what we need to make sure is that this is really dry and clear. So I'm going to give it a little blast with my heat gun. But most importantly really is the little embossing buddy for this. So I'm going to give it a good going over. So I don't want embossing powder to end up where I haven't stamped. So I'm going to use my beautiful peacock that I have been using throughout Celebration, and my Versamark, which appears to not be here. Right, I'm going to pause and come back in a minute with my Versamark. Okay, so I am back with my Versamark. I've got a little mini ink spot Versamark I made because I'm working with clear today. I didn't want to use my rather grubby main Versamark. So I made a little emergency ink spot with the Versamark ink. So I'm going to ink up my peacock body and work out so I can get a bit of every colour there. And then I'm do his tail. Must remember to actually do it under where the camera is. Right, I need to tilt that slightly, work out where the body was. Right. That to one side. So then I'm going to use my clear embossing powder. that's a quick flick. I think that's pretty clear of any embossing powder I don't want. Go out with the old heat gun again. It goes flying across my conservatory. So this is just almost going to disappear into the background, really. I can still see it melting. Right. I think that's about done. And next, I've got my black ink here, my basic black, and one of our sponge brayers. And all I'm going to do is cover, something hit the conservatory then, this entire piece of card with black ink. So I do keep a brayer just for black. It's not going to come out once I've done this. So depending on how juicy your ink pad is, this can take some time. And don't worry about any lines that are visible at the moment. The more you ink over, the clearer it's going to be. And can you see what's happening? So where we've put the embossing powder, so it's really an emboss resist technique, this one, but we've put the multicolours nicely underneath. There you are. So you can carry on. So you can still see on this one, I'm not sure it'll come out on the camera, a little bit of the colour underneath. So you can keep going, really, until you get it really, really black. And then, I didn't bring a tissue out with me. So then with a tissue, maybe even a little bit of waste grid paper, you can clear off any ink that remains over your image. There we are. And you've got rather lovely subtle effect that I then just really simply layered up. There you are, on this card here, using the Myth and Magic Glimmer. Not sure I've actually stuck the card down. There you are. So I mentioned there was going to be two ways of doing this, but rather than demonstrate, I'm just going to show you the end result for now. Okay, which is this one. So on here, instead of sponging my own background, I thought, well, I wonder what will happen if I use DSP. And that's exactly what I did. So I stamped Dragonfly, I think this one's the Awesomely Artistic Dragonfly, on some of the Naturally Eclectic paper. Exactly the same thing, then embossed it and covered it in the black. So you can see where I cut it from here. So this was the paper before, and that's the edges of my butterflies. So I can't wait actually to try this with lots of different DSPs. I tried it with the Eclectic Stripe, can you see that one there? But however much black I was putting on there was not covering up those stripes, so you don't really get the contrast as well with that one. But I think this one worked really well, and you can still see sort of the circles on the DSP. It does take quite a lot of effort to cover up the patterns with the black, but I think it's well worth it. I don't know if you can see on here, I just literally clear embossed the dragonfly again on my, to cover up my, not cover up, to go on my little circle for my sentiment. So there's that one. I showed you one that didn't work so well. And I'll show you one where I forgot to use my embossing buddy. So here's a little dragonfly here, but can you see all of the different embossing powder that's still left behind? Now I still will use this because, you know, nobody knows those little bits of like fairy dust or dragonfly dust aren't supposed to be there. But yeah, so this was a sponged background again, but don't forget your embossing buddy. Really, really important on this one. And then I've got another one I made with a sponged background using the birthday blooms here. So I've already made this one into a card. So again, so this was just some berry burst, so saffron I think, and maybe a little bit of sweet sugar plum in there. And I really like the way they've come out, so you will definitely be seeing some more of the fabulous Joseph's Coat technique. It would help if I had actually finished making that card. There you are. So I hope you've enjoyed it. If you'd like any of the items I've used, there'll be a fairly long list of them below this video. But thanks as always for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.